I hope the reception is good.
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Now, on the surface, lots of people look like they have it all figured out. They have it all together. They're achieving, building, progressing, but internally, there's something else going on. Overthinking, pressure, noise. And the quiet question that keeps coming back, why does this still feel unclear? Today, we're exploring that space between success and clarity. I am joined by Crystal Bell, who works with high performers, entrepreneurs to cut through that noise and make decisions that actually move their lives forward. Crystal, welcome to Thought at Last. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Awesome. So, Crystal, before we kick things off, here on Thought at Last, I and my listeners, we want to get to know our guests on a personal level. So, if you don't mind, can you tell us more about yourself?
I'd be happy to. I grew up, I'm in the United States, and I grew up in the Midwest. My family was, I would say, not ideal. Lots of addiction in my family and mental health issues. And I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. And so I'm very lucky in that regard that I found a way through the world. And when I was young, I really lobbed onto perfectionism, which worked great for me until it didn't, of course. But now I went to college. I studied to be a music teacher, actually, and then ended up in graduate school. Decided when I decided not to teach anymore, I knew that I wanted to stay connected to people and continue to have education in my life somehow. So I went for a dual master's program with my master's of business administration and also my master's of arts management. Worked at nonprofits for a while, found myself in a local government, and eventually over into a software company that I had been working with as a client for a period of time. That was 11 years ago, and I've since grown up through the ranks, starting as a business analyst, and have been running that organization for almost 5 years now. It started in May 2021 when I took over as president of Enterprise Solutions.
Wow.
On the side, I've been practicing yoga for about 15, 16 years now, and found that to be a really great balance for my stress in corporate life. I began practicing and then took yoga teacher training about 4 years ago and ended up having the opportunity to buy into the studio that I've been practicing with. I bought out two of the owners and have been an owner there for about 2.5 years now.
Wow.
And it's been truly a joy. And just recently, I'm working on launching a business coaching and public speaking brand called Clarity with Crystal. So I like to keep myself busy, and I think that I do well because I'm able to balance my own personal time and my mindset with my skills that I've learned over a period of years being in the corporate world.
Oh, wow, that's absolutely fabulous. Once again, Crystal, thank you for letting us get to know you and welcome to Thought Atlas.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
Crystal, okay, okay, can I continue? Do you want to say something?
No, no, please.
Okay, wonderful. So, I want us to start here. Now, why do you think someone can look successful on the outside but feel completely unclear on the inside?
Yes, so it's actually really normal, and I think there's a couple different reasons for it. So one is we're all humans, right? We're all
Mm.
humans, and we get stuck in patterns of overthinking, of maybe it's overthinking about ourselves as a person. How are we showing up in the world? So maybe we're stuck in our mind around, oh, I don't like how I said that, or am I wearing the right thing, or how does my body look in this moment? And we get in these patterns. So even though we come off maybe as hyper confident, it can be a thought pattern that we started early on in childhood that
Yes.
we have these belief systems that we've continued with and never challenged because they've been sitting with us. And I think the other side of it could also be a learned behavior in society that maybe as a child and as an adolescent, you were kind of young and free and you were able to try a lot of different things. But over time, in our society, maybe people have said, oh, you need to, be quieter, you need to be appropriate, you need to dress less loud, we need to kind of blend in. And that can have you questioning sort of who you are at your core versus how you show up in the world, right? And I think that that can be overthinking without the ability to deal with it in some way, maybe through journaling, through yoga, through having a good friend, through a therapy practice. It's a lack of clarity in your mind, and it allows the what I call brain trash, right? Head trash,
Yes.
to just sort of simmer like a soup that's constantly on the oven. It's just always there, making us a little bit unfocused, making us a little bit nervous to show up real and true and authentic in the world.
Well, now I want to ask Crystal, do you think imposter syndrome is a main proponent to this, or it's just one of the symptoms?
I think imposter syndrome, which I have had for many years in my life, sometimes still creeps in,
Yeah.
is I would say I think it's a symptom, right? Like I think it's a symptom of society of looking and maybe growing up for me as a perfectionist, as somebody
Yes.
who, in order to deal and cope with having not the best upbringing and having a lot of unrest and lack of safety, I had to find control, right? And so
Yeah.
when you find control, and it's all fake, right? Control doesn't really exist in the world, in our lives. We can control what
Yes.
goes into our mouth and out of our mouth, but very little else.
Yes.
That when we grow up like that and we have to create these systems of safety, and then all of a sudden we're with other people that are totally unlike us, and we're looking at the media, we're seeing TV shows about successful people, we're reading magazines about what success looks like, that we question ourselves, right? We're questioning
Yes.
whether we are doing enough. We question ourselves if we're having thoughts that, oh, was that okay? Did I say the right thing? Well, then maybe I don't deserve to be in this space, because people who appear to be confident on the outside, we look at them and assume that they are confident on the inside as
Yes.
well. And in truth, that's simply not the case. I've been told many times throughout my life, even when I was, I would say, my least confident in middle school, in high school, in college, that, oh my gosh, you're so confident, you always show up, you're so authentic. And in my heart, I was thinking, oh, I have everybody fooled, right? Like, how did I do that? I don't understand how they could possibly think I was confident
Yeah.
when I feel like a total mess, right? And now in business, I show up, I speak, I advise my team members, I make decisions, but I still question, like, how did I even get here, right? Like, am
Yes.
I meant to be doing this? Is this a joke? Is somebody going to figure me out, right? And that's all that imposter syndrome that's just built over years, because we don't have a lot of authentic leaders telling us it's okay to feel like you're a little bit off, or it's okay to question your decisions. We, as
Yes.
leaders, I think, have to pretend that we have it all together so that people trust us, and people look to us. And you don't want to give away your veneer of being completely in control. But as a leader, I do it differently. I want people on my team to know, I think this is the right way, but I really do want your input, because we're all
Yes.
human, right? And so I think
Yes.
that having leaders that have these conversations is going to hopefully help the next generation to realize that we don't really all have it together, and it's okay to question yourself, and it's okay to feel imposter syndrome so long as you don't let it paralyze you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful explanation and, clarifying everything for I and my listeners to understand. And I do really agree with you. It's a perfectly normal, human feeling. It's just part of your emotions. I mean, think of it like this. I have a friend that he was feeling some way a certain time, and he told me that he doesn't understand why he's feeling like this. I've actually, narrated this story a couple times to some of my guests. And I told him that, bro, you're treating your feelings, your emotions like it's something to get rid of. It isn't. It's okay to feel emotions. It's a feature of being a human being. Why are you acting like as if it's something, it's like it's a bug in a system or something? No, it's a feature of you being a human being. So instead of trying to fight it, why don't you just try to understand, why do I feel this way? Now, in the context of, being an achiever and being a high performer in a particular field, let's say, is it because I've never really faced any difficult task or any kind of challenge to take me to kind of like sweep me off my feet? Is it because I've always been lucky? So who cares if you've been lucky? Who cares if you've not faced any challenge? One thing is for sure, you did do the work. You didn't just get there by chance. You actually worked hard to be there. So if anything, you feel that way because it's just part of being a human being. So just try to understand okay, why am I feeling like I'm lucky or I'm not supposed to be here? What exactly is causing that feeling? Then I think maybe when you find that whatever maybe that scenario or that stuff that may be causing you to feel that way, I think you'll be able to, kind of resolve that imposter syndrome. Now, moving on to the next question. Did you want to add to that or should I continue?
No, I really agree with you. And I think that a lot of times we do question ourselves, how did I get here? I must have been lucky. But to
Yeah,
remind yourself, right, that you did the
yeah,
work and to treat those thoughts and emotions as as temporary, right? Because emotions are
yes,
all temporary,
yes,
and to be
definitely.
curious about them rather than judgmental of yourself, right? To ask yourself, oh, I'm noticing I'm feeling worried. I'm feeling like an imposter. I'm curious about that. Why is that? Rather than saying, oh, well, then I must be, right? Like
Oh,
treating it as
exactly,
gospel for yourself. Yeah,
exactly.
beautifully put.
Wow, thank you so much, Crystal. You explained it perfectly well. There's no way nobody would understand that. So moving on to the next one. Now, do you think high performance can sometimes be a coping mechanism rather than a conscious choice? Hmm.
100%. I actually have a note here that says overachievement is a coping strategy, right?
Yeah.
And truly, I'm a perfect business case for that.
Yes.
Growing up, in order to be seen in my family, which, like I kind of alluded to, I had a large family. There was a lot going on. I was the youngest, and so in order to be seen, I found out that I had to be an overachiever, right? The only time I got the time of day from parents was if I was literally on stage. So if I was in my play, if I was playing my instrument, I played clarinet, I sang, I did musicals, I was in choir, right? So I found that in order to be seen in any moments, I got straight A's, right? Because that was something that was abnormal in my family. So it made me stand out. I
Oh, wow.
overachieved. I was physically on stage so that there had to be visibility on me.
Yes.
And I think that overachievement in general, as a coping strategy, we have these as high performer tendencies because we achieve, right? We get dopamine because someone pays attention or it
Yes.
helps us in some way. We get dopamine from it. We want more of it. We achieve more. We take on more. We add more to our plate. Maybe it's because things have always come easy until something hits that becomes hard. And I
Yes.
think when we grow up as overachievers, as high performers, we also create this unintended and fake pressure on ourselves that unless we continue to do that, then we are no one, right? Then we are no longer necessary in the world. Then we are no longer somebody to be looked up to or somebody that's worthy of other time if we are no longer adding more and more to our plate, if we are no longer the best at whatever it is that we're doing. But the reality is that we are all enough right as we are, right? There is
Yes,
no standard in life that says the only people who get to get good jobs have straight A's. In fact, Albert Einstein proved that you can be absolutely brilliant and fail out of school, right?
yes, yes,
So, how I've learned to handle this is to, through my yoga practice, slow down and really get clear on the thing that I want to be doing and to excel at, because then I can lead through it differently, right? Instead of just doing everything and trying to be great and then literally breaking down if I'm not, get clearer on what I'm passionate about and do that because not just because I'm good at it or not just because I can achieve, but because I actually enjoy it and I can show how you can be authentic and care about yourself at the same time as maybe
yes.
being good at something. I also try to challenge myself to be bad at things, right? I mentioned before
Oh
we
wow.
started recording, I was trying to
Yeah,
teach myself how to roller skate. I never learned how when I was a child, and I've always been a little afraid of it, maybe rightfully so. Um, but as I'm working on not being this kind of perfectionist, I was like, yeah, let's try it. Let's see. I'm not good at it. Obviously, I fell, I hurt myself, but
yeah,
I tried, right? And I wasn't good at it, and that was okay
yes.
with me.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for that wonderful response, Crystal. Now, Crystal, how do you personally define clarity? Because it's a word most people, people use it a lot, but they really explain. I need clarity. I need to find clarity. Okay, what is clarity to you? And they just be like, so can you tell us what clarity is? Because you're the expert.
Yes. So clarity for me is being able to see through a fog, right? We have maybe confusion, ideas, we have thoughts, we have distractions, we have expectations, all of these things in our lives, in our brains. And to be able to actually achieve clarity, it's to be able to see everything at the same time because they don't go away, but to be able to identify what actually matters, to grab onto that thing, action it, and then drive results, right? So it's okay. We
Yes,
have the thought patterns that continue to exist, but we give them less priority, we give them less time because we have taken the time and put in the effort to see the one or three, right? Or four, but not 10 things in our lives that are going to drive our behaviors, allow us to be authentic, take action to move forward, and drive the results that we're looking for. Because it's rare that we can do everything well. And often in our lives, it's not that we don't have enough ideas, it's not that we don't have enough time, it's that we're
yes,
trying to do too many things and we're not prioritizing enough to actually drive results from actions that matter rather than just being busy, right? So changing
yes.
busyness into focus is what I think of as clarity.
Oh wow. Now, when someone has too many ideas, goals, or directions, it's quite difficult to pick a particular path or, okay, what do I do next? Coupled with I think it's ADHD. Okay, yes. It becomes chaos, becomes, someone will just sit down, they will just be quiet, and you would think, What's happening? What's wrong with that guy? He's just there, just thinking, what do I do? He's confused. Or sometimes he starts something, he does it up to a certain point. The next thing he stops, goes and do something else. So how can someone, figure out what actually matters, what they need to concentrate on? What are the parameters around picking? Yes, around that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, but the thing that I teach my clients is first of all, let's look at the themes that have come up in your ideas, right? So is there one or two things that are really driving a lot of your ideas? Is it that you want to help people? Is it that you want to increase your income? Is it that you want more time for yourself, right? What are the driving factors behind your ideas, because then we start to understand what your core value is. What is your core focus? So that's going to be the first thing, because often we're trying to grasp at things in order to get something that we really want. So we'll take it down the road for my example of trying to increase your income, right? That you're trying
Yes.
to build more clients, or you're trying to make more money, you're trying to get a raise. And so sometimes in order to get a raise or to increase your income or to get more clients, you think you need to be busy. But activity is not the same as progress. Busyness
Oh
is
wow.
not
Oh
the
wow.
same.
I love that. Activity is
Yeah.
not the same as progress. Wow.
Yeah, activity is not the same as progress, right? Busyness
Yes.
is not being effective. Just because you're doing things doesn't mean that you're actually progressing forward. So
Yes.
when you have the the core focus, the core vision of what you're trying to do. Okay, I'm trying to increase my income. So, what has worked in that? What are the activities that you're doing that actually drive that? Is it updating your Instagram? Is it looking at Amazon and seeing, what you might be interested in? Is it buying a cool outfit to be in a podcast? Or is it actually
Yes.
doing the work? Is it putting out meaningful content? Is it looking and analyzing your audience or your business to see what topics have hit the most and trying to increase your touch through that? If you're in a job like I am in corporate, is it building
Yes.
relationships with your clients so that they have more trust in you rather than just trying to get more business? It's a lot easier to continue a relationship with somebody that already trusts you than it is to build new relationships and trying to convince you to spend money or time on the thing that you're selling, right? So looking at your
Exactly.
activities and changing those into mindful progress. You might have heard of like the 80-20 rule, right? Where if you spend
20% of the results actually, 20% of the efforts actually give 100% of the oh my God, I've messed it up.
exactly, yeah. So we often spend 80% of our time on things that only give us 20% results, whereas we should really spend 80 to 100% of our time on that 20%, like that top 20% of
Yes.
activities that actually drive results, behavior, and that we're passionate about, right? Because when you're passionate about what you do, it translates and people want to spend more time with you. So being successful isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it well, doing it with passion, with vision, with clarity. It's again, activity is not progress. It's not the same.
Yes. Wow. Crystal, I love the way you break these things down and try to make I and my audience, understand. And I don't even need to try and listen. I'm forced to listen because I don't have a choice. I just love it so much.
Thank
So
you.
you created something called the clarity method. At its core, what does the method help people see that they were missing before?
Yeah, so at its core, the clarity method is meant for leaders or small business owners to look at what they're doing in their entire landscape of their business
Yes.
and break it down into important factors and parts that we're going to then spend appropriate effort on, right? So a lot of business owners get stuck in that activity versus progress, right? They're always having ideas and chasing ideas and wanting to do more and switching it up. Instead of that, I spend time with them first to really understand what drives them as a
Yes.
human and what drives their business. After that, once we
Yeah.
really get clear on what their core values are, sorry, my dog's barking. I apologize. She's
It's fine. It's fine.
cat.
He wants to join. He wants to join our meeting.
She
I would,
does.
if he has some advice, I would definitely love to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, she's grown her own business. It's called Barking and trying to um so with the clarity method, once I help the owner, the leader to distill down their vision and
Yes.
understand their core factors, what their core motivations are, then we set goals. We'll set goals for a really big goal for 10 years out. Like, where do you want to be? Is it that you're trying to retire? Is it that you want to be able to spend time and raise your family? Is it that you want the business to be in a place that it can be running itself, like running through other people so that you're making income without having to put as much effort in it? Or is it that you want to 10x it? You want to have a franchise, right? Whatever that looks like, we put those goals out there for 10 years and then we map it backwards. Because I really believe that having something out there is super helpful. It creates this excitement, but you're not going to get dopamine. You're not going to want to continue forward unless
Yes.
you have small wins along the way. So I'll map it backwards for 3 years. I'll map it backwards for 1 year. I'll map it backwards for 1 quarter. And then we'll talk about every week what are some activities that you can do to drive toward that quarterly goal so that everything aligns to this roadmap of success. Then we work together week to week. So I call those clarity breaks or clarity resets, that every week we're meeting together where we're talking about what's going on in the business, what are challenges that they may be facing. I can help to maneuver them, but I also make sure that they're progressing on those goals so that again,
Yes.
they're not letting that action or activity get in the way of their progress. And a lot of times for business owners, especially, it comes down to also finding people that can be in their circle that are maybe a little bit better at them, at things that they're doing that are taking their time and energy so that they can spend their time in the most successful place. We sit down
Wow.
together on a weekly basis, but also on a quarterly basis to again review the goals for that quarter. And then a piece of it is also if they want, I'll also work with their team to help to build up or upskill the team that's around them so that they also feel more supported and can let go of some of the things that they're not joyful about, that doesn't give them clarity or energy, so that their team around them can help to support their goals as well.
Wow. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful explanation, Crystal. Now, Crystal, from your experience, what is one decision people delay the most, even when they know it is very much necessary?
The decisions that they delay most are the ones that are based in their rooted fear. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, which is me. The
Yes.
thing being a overachiever and having imposter syndrome, the thing that I delayed for a year was just applying for my business license, was just
Oh,
giving
man.
myself the opportunity to be a legitimate business because I was terrified, right? I was terrified of taking that leap and saying,
Yes.
like, hey, if I'm paying this $50 and filling out this form, right, it's nothing that's particularly exciting. It's nothing that is time consuming. It took me less than an hour,
Wow.
but I avoided it for so long and did all the other activities around it, right? Anything else that I thought was fun in order to have to work through the fear that I had with myself around what does it mean when I have this license, right? And so I think for a lot of people, it's the thing that scares them the most, or maybe forces them into that feeling of discomfort because they can do other things around them that feel like progress, but aren't actually the thing that is going to push them over the edge into discomfort. And as humans, we avoid discomfort. It's natural, right? And so
Yes. Yes.
that is going to be 90% of the time at the root of the things that we're avoiding.
Wow. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful response. Now, Crystal, I have sort of rapid fire questions I want to ask you. You can either answer with a phrase or a sentence.
Okay.
And I want you to know that if you cannot pick one option or the other, you can pick both options if you feel that's the best answer. So the
Okay.
first question, okay, the first rapid fire question is clarity or certainty?
Clarity, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Now, action or reflection?
Reflection,
Yes, I agree. Structure or flexibility?
both structure with flexibility.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, if you don't have structure, you can't be flexible.
Correct.
You just be wobbly like a rubber band. Ambition or alignment?
Alignment,
Awesome. Now the next one is, what is one word you would use to define direction?
focus.
Focus. I mean, I agree. You have to focus to go. I mean, to go in one direction. Definitely. That was wonderful. Now, this is my final question before we wrap up for today. Really been a very wonderful time with you on the podcast. Thank you for taking, the time out of your busy schedule to be here to enlighten and educate I and my listeners on, having clarity when it comes to the affairs of life and business. Now, if someone is listening and they feel overwhelmed, stuck, or constantly overthinking, what is the simplest way they can start cutting through the noise and actually move forward?
Reminding yourself that when you feel like everything is important, then nothing is. So taking a moment, breathing in through the nose, pausing, sighing out, giving yourself a moment to reflect, and then asking yourself this question: if I can only do one thing today, what will I feel best having done?
Wow, Crystal, this has really been a very grounded conversation, especially around, how clarity isn't just about thinking, but it's about how we actually move through decisions. I appreciate you taking out of your busy schedule once again, to come on the podcast. And where can my listeners, connect with you, learn more about your work, and get copies of your book if you have any?
I'm on Instagram at clarity.with.crystal, and I'm about to launch a website, clarity-with-crystal.com. So I look forward to seeing you guys online and engaging with you soon.
Okay. Clarity, if you don't mind, can you um give your Instagram handle again?
Yes, the Instagram handle is at clarity.with.crystal.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that clarity. For everyone listening, as I say clarity, thank you so much for that, Crystal. For everyone listening, please do not forget to check out Clarity. It's been such a pleasure with her. She has, enlightened us. She has educated us when it comes to, being clear, having clarity when it comes to life and everything that has to do with life. And clarity. Oh my, what's wrong with me? And Crystal, please do have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I know that in a few days' time, your arm is going to heal and you're going to kill it when it comes to, I think it's called roller skating.
Yes.
Yeah, you're definitely going to kill it when it comes to roller skating. And do have a wonderful day. Do take care of yourself and take care.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure it was.
It's awesome. Bye bye.